honestly, how is this even happening?
Well, you have, again, a rogue prosecutor like Letitia James, who has, a political base that is in favor of her actions. And then you have a judge that in Manhattan that's willing to go along with it. No one is above the law. Gee, that's the one thing she's right on. But nobody is below the law either. And American citizens shouldn't be targeted individually for their political beliefs, which is exactly what's happening to Donald Trump in these blue jurisdictions. And it's just lawfare at its absolute worst.
Lawfare.
And again, if this continues and is allowed to happen by these appeals courts and the Supreme Court, then I think you're going to end up with a collapse of the American justice system, and the American people are not going to have faith in the system.
Letitia James is single-handedly attempting to collapse New York City and the trust in New York City. This literally will deter, and is already deterring, investors from wanting to invest in New York City. Look at Kevin O'Leary, look at Grant Cardone. But guess what, guys? Donald Trump's social media company, Truth Social, just completed a merger on Friday morning. And this could very well net the former president, Donald Trump, over $3 billion. This particular company can actually begin trading as a public company with the stock ticker symbol DJT on the NASDAQ as early as next week. But in less than 24 hours, AG Attorney General Letitia James could very well begin seizing President Donald Trump's assets. These assets include bank accounts, Donald Trump's real estate holdings in New York City, upstate New York, just north of Manhattan, Florida, Trump Tower at 40 Wall Street, Mar-a-Lago. But Letitia James has just received a stern warning. Take a listen.
Folks in the Biden campaign are already starting to refer to Donald Trump as broke Don, which is interesting. And then there is a possibility that the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, would have to start seizing assets, maybe even buildings. How do you think that would play?
I want you to remember this moment, and don't forget it. If the New York Attorney General starts to take his homes away, starts to seize his assets, it's all going to be on camera. Pundits are going to sit there and scream about this. This man cannot be elected. You're going to create the greatest victimhood of 2024, and you're going to elect Donald Trump.
Wow. Wow, guys. So GOP pollster Frank Lutz, he warned the Democrats that seizing Donald Trump's properties will create the greatest victimhood of 2024. And this could very well actually hand the 2024 presidential elections to Donald Trump. Just here you go. Here's the presidency for Donald Trump, right? So New York City Attorney General is targeting Donald Trump for political reasons. I think it's very clear at this point, especially considering the reference to her political campaign, her actions since taking office. In fact, this aspect of the case is clearly lawfare at its best. The legal actions against Donald Trump, the $450 million fine, it's got to be motivated by political animosity, maybe a desire to weaken him politically, maybe both. I mean, it can't just be the strict legal considerations, right? And you guys want proof that Letitia James' case was politically motivated? Listen to what she campaigned on just before becoming the New York Attorney General and initiating this witch hunt. Oh, and by the way, if you guys haven't already, definitely hit the like button for the video. I really appreciate your support. And share this video on Facebook and Twitter. I totally appreciate you guys. But take a listen to what Letitia James campaigned on, and you tell me that this is not politically motivated. Whoa. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know right there. Her goal is to sue him. For what? Well, I don't know. Put me in office, make me Attorney General, and I'll figure out what we can sue him for. I mean, like, come on, guys.
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain. He's going to know my name personally.
President Trump cannot avoid justice in the great state of New York.
I mean, what more do you need to hear? I mean, like, You know what I'm saying? Like, this is literally what she said before becoming attorney general of New York City and initiating this witch hunt. I mean, I can't make this stuff up, right? So how is it that Donald Trump, despite repaying a real estate loan with interest, he's still being held civilly liable for this amount? $450 million. 400. I mean, this aspect of the case is very peculiar, and it's also a little bit, well, I don't want to say a little bit, it is very unusual, as the complete repayment of a loan, typically it nullifies the debtor's obligation. Can you imagine you pay off your car and then the bank is still looking to, send you more bills? I mean, like, once you pay the debt off, the money is repaid, everyone's happy, you keep the asset, the debt is eliminated, the deal is done, right? No. Donald Trump paid off these loans. The banks were happy. The lenders were happy. The banks were profitable. Here you come, Attorney General Letitia James, digging up, creating cases for Donald Trump to go after him. I mean, get this, so the fact that Donald Trump remains liable really suggests a very aggressive interpretation of the legal obligations, or an attempt to find or create liability beyond the standard financial transactions. Bernie Madoff. Let me know if you guys remember Bernie Madoff. I mean, I want you guys to think back to like 2008, 2009 timeframe. His name was all over the news. One of the biggest financial fraudsters in history. He had people investing billions of dollars into his company. He basically, told people that they were making money. The return on their investment was just unbelievable, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, big, huge Ponzi scheme, right? So Bernie Madoff, defrauding Americans, defrauding investors around the world. I mean, he defrauded other hedge fund companies and other money managers. So many people and investors and companies, money managers, they were all investing in Bernie Madoff because he had these amazing, unbelievable returns. Well, there was a reason for that. So Bernie Madoff, defrauding Americans and investors around the world of billions of dollars. Okay. I want you guys to just try to wrap your mind around the magnitude of this and compare it to Donald Trump today. Okay. So Donald Trump, he borrowed money. They're alleging that he inflated the values of his assets and this allowed him to get more money. Sure, right? But the banks have confirmed that they had hired their own real estate appraisers. They had their own appraisers. So I don't even understand. It's very clear that Alina Habba will come in and the rest of Donald Trump's team and appeal this thing, and they're likely going to get this whole thing thrown out, right? But unfortunately, Alina Habba can't really do her job just yet until this bond is satisfied because, basically the way that the judicial system works is that you have to post bond or pay the bond, provide the bond before you can actually begin the appellate process. It's really unfair. And they knew this. And you wonder why they came up with this $450 million fine. Well, due to previous paperwork filing, I want to say probably during when Trump became president, there were some documents that indicated that he had around $400 million. Well, how do you take out your political component? How do you take your political opponent? Well, if you wipe him out financially, he can't fight. It's kind of like, if you want to beat Mike Tyson, how do you beat him? Well, you get him in a ring, but before you ring the bell and start that match, handcuff his hands behind his back. All right, now let's go ahead and start the fight. And this is basically what they're doing to Donald Trump today, right? Anyway, I use Mike Tyson because I think he's about to get into the ring with Jake Paul not too distant future from now. Let me know if you guys are interested in watching that fight, and let me know who you think will win on that one. But anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, right? So literally, the closest example we can come up with for Donald Trump's situation here, right? And I'm with Lisa Diaz. Karma's gonna come back and bite you in the butt. And what's going on, Catalia? I see you, Charlie James, Tracy Norman, Eric Holder. So compare Donald Trump to Bernie Madoff, right? So Bernie Madoff defrauding Americans and investors around the world of billions of dollars. I'm talking about retirement funds were wiped out, right? People had they had their life savings wiped out by Bernie Madoff, right? So Bernie Madoff, he defrauded millions of Americans and investors, billions of dollars around the world, right? Investors, families were devastated by the fraud that was committed by Bernie Madoff. Well, there was actually a long list of victims due to Bernie Madoff's fraud. People were wiped out, right? Unlike President Trump's New York case. You see the difference? But even still, Bernie Madoff, he was only hit with a $10 million bond with billions of dollars in fraud, lives ruined. I mean, who knows how many people went into foreclosure on their homes because their accounts were wiped out when they realized that the money wasn't there? How many people turned 65 years old, 60 years old, 55, whenever they thought they were going to be able to retire, only to find out that their retirement accounts were not what they thought they were. They were gone, right? Those were actual victims. But Bernie Madoff was hit with a $10 million bond. So I want you guys to tell me, how is it that Donald Trump gets hit with a bond requirement of $454 million when there were no victims? You can't find a single victim because there weren't any. And the banks involved in the transactions were profitable. They made money and they were happy. But you know what's really funny about the left? You know what's really funny about the left? Well, they didn't even do their homework. They were valuing, Trump's Mar-a-Lago property at what, $18 million? They were saying that Trump overvalued his property and saying that Donald Trump used this overvalue, this excess property evaluation to persuade the banks into more favorable lending terms. But yet, CNN, in their infinite wisdom, they bring on a guest on their show to they thought they were going to just, I don't know what they thought they were going to do. But anyway, CNN brings a guest on their show, and the guest actually that they invited on their show completely destroys the allegations that were brought against Donald Trump that his Mar-a-Lago property is worth way more than $18 million. I want y'all to listen to this. Take a listen.
At least 30 days to get any of these properties sold. But the property
now, before she continues, I just want to kind of preface this a little bit. This is not just some random real estate investor. I'm sorry. This is not some random real estate agent who just got her license yesterday. Okay. This is Bess Friedman, who is the CEO of luxury real estate firm Brown Harris Stevens. Okay. Seasoned real estate agent. I think she's actually a real estate broker. I don't want to downgrade her. I think she's a real estate broker. Well, she's the CEO, so I'm pretty sure she is the broker. And she's going to break down what Mar-a-Lago is probably worth today. And you tell me if she says that this thing's worth $18 million. Take a listen.
Mar-a-Lago, potentially that could be something that could be sold quickly. I think the valuation is something in the hundreds of millions, and I think there could be a buyer for something like that.
And that would be literally, if you're talking about doing that between now and Monday, that's picking up the phone, calling someone, and then literally writing a check.
Yeah, I mean, there could be plenty of international people who want to buy that property. I mean, there's properties that are priced at 150 and 200 million that are nearby that. And Palm Beach is like the Nvidia, of real estate. It's just shot up like a rocket.
So clearly, she didn't mention anything near $18 million. She's saying that, it's likely worth in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay. She said that there's properties down the street that are worth $200 million. So this is CNN, guys. I know how y'all love CNN, right? Strong sarcasm on that one, right? So CNN invites Bess Friedman, CEO of luxury real estate firm Brown Harris Stevens, and completely debunks this theory that Trump's properties were overvalued. So, I mean, heck, I'm pretty sure Alina Habba and, Trump's legal team of New York, for New York City, for the New York City legal trial against Letitia James is paying attention to this. They're looking at this. They're going to be they're going to use this because this is a respected opinion. This is the CEO of a luxury real estate firm that serves the I forget what area Mar-a-Lago is located in, West Palm Beach, that serves the area. They would know. So this is proof that it's worth way more than $18 million and that this would not have been an inflated projection or valuation of this particular property.
And people do want to live there, they'd move there. So I think that would be the best case scenario as to property if he's trying to sell quickly. I would encourage that. So,
and that's the other thing. She already confirmed that this property would take at least 30 days, right? But how much time did Letitia James and Judge Arthur Engeron of New York City give Donald Trump to come up with $500 million in this bond? The goal wasn't for Donald Trump to come up with the money. By the way, he did actually come up with the money. He's got the money, right? The goal was to wipe him out. And this is a smart businessman, okay? This is why, Donald Trump's not perfect, right? But when you look at who you have to choose from, do you really want someone who can barely make it up a flight of stairs on Air Force One, representing the United States of America and, managing policy and international relations and bringing our economy back? Do you really want a guy who's got dementia, who's, fallen more times in 1 year than any other president in history? Or do you want a guy who has street smarts, who is facing a multitude of bullies right now, guys? A guy who knows how to handle himself, right? Can you imagine if he told them all of the details that they wanted to know about his assets? Right now, granted, he had this extra $500 million. I don't even know how much money he's got set aside, but apparently he's got at least the $500 million because that's what Donald Trump came out and said on his Truth Social account just last 48 hours. So he's got the money. But can you imagine if his legal opponent, Letitia James, knew exactly how much money he had? Well, let's just pretend he came out and said, hey, I got $900 million in cash sitting in some, high yield interest accounts, maybe sitting in some bond funds or whatever, whatever the case is, liquid $900 million in cash, right? What would stop her and our Judge Arthur Engeron from coming after him with a $850 or a $900 million bond or judgment, right? Because it is very clear that this random, arbitrary $454 million bond or judgment was based on what they thought he had. So it's like, basically, whatever you say you got, that's what the fine's going to be, because we're just trying to clean you out. That way you can't run your presidential campaign, because according to Donald Trump on his Truth Social account, he was planning on using that $500,000 toward his campaign. So if we wipe that out, then we pretty much give Biden the presidency with no competitor.
That $240 million estimated. I mean, who knows? He's a debt.
as to property if he's trying to sell quickly, I would encourage that.
So, all right, now that's $240 million estimated. I mean, who knows? He's a desperate seller in this case. Someone picks up the phone and makes that call this week. So I don't know what it'd be. That's still half of what it would be.
So, if you guys, and you guys, how many of you guys own real estate? I'm pretty sure most of you guys own real estate, whether it's your primary residence, maybe you have a rental property, maybe you have a duplex or a triplex, maybe a quadruplex, maybe you even own some commercial real estate. You already know that you're probably not going to be able to sell your piece of property in less than 30 days, right? But yet Letitia James gives Donald Trump this unbelievably brief, short period of time to be able to come up with $500 million, right? So even if he wanted to voluntarily liquidate some of his real estate, good luck selling a property in 30 days. Good luck selling a $200 million piece of commercial real estate in one of the worst commercial real estate markets in history in 30 days and getting anywhere near what it's worth, right? So now is not the time to sell. It's kind of like if you were in the middle of a stock market crash and you needed some cash, you probably wouldn't want to sell out of your stocks when the stocks are worth as little as they've ever been worth, right? And that's basically this this worst case scenario, perfect storm that Letitia James and Judge Arthur Engeron have created for Donald Trump. So not only would he not get top dollar, he would be selling at the bottom of the market, and he would also be likely selling to people who are aware of his current situation and would then lowball him on top of that. And then on top of that, beyond the lowball, if he were to take that, he'd probably get hit with some capital gains because a lot of these properties he bought 10, 20, 30 years ago. So they're likely, even in the worst of markets, it's still worth more than what he paid for it. So then he'd have to pay tax on top of that. So the problem just keeps getting exponentially worse. And they knew this. They knew this, guys. So anyway, I mean, this case is literally just an outrageous miscarriage of justice. And, it's just really inconsistent with the fundamental constitutional right of due process and the prevention of excess fines under the Eighth Amendment, which, again, is just being completely trampled all over and ignored. And this is exactly why the minute he can get this appeal, the minute Donald Trump can get this appeal, Alina Habba is going to go off. All Donald Trump needs to do, and I'm simplifying the complexity of the mountain he needs to climb, which again kind of goes to the point of, is this the kind of president that you want? Do you want a president that has proven himself to be up against all odds and still not quit? I mean, like, he's up against some pretty significant challenges here, right? You have it's a man against the government, the federal government. This is crazy. This is really, really crazy. But this is also a testament of fortitude. This is a testament to stamina. How do you fight all of these battles and still remain confident? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some street smarts. And, I don't know if the other guy could do that. I mean, if he's dealing with dementia and, they wanted to try to flip the table around and, say Trump's got some dementia or some cognitive issues. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to debate that. But I'm just saying, he's got all of these cases and all of these different professionals coming at him, all of these different legal bodies attacking him at once. And yet they still hadn't been able to take him down. And he's still walking away with wins. Don't even get me started on Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade, that Georgia election case, which I'm going to give you guys an update on in the next live. But this guy, he's a fighter. And he's proven himself. And the Dems, the libs, they have provided him one of the greatest platforms ever for free. This is free publicity. He's getting to be able to literally just advertise his capabilities. So imagine you got a guy like that. Do you want a guy like that who's proven himself to be able to defend himself? Do you want him in the presidential office? That's the kind of question you want to ask yourself, or do you want another guy who, can't remember his lines, can't figure out how to get off the stage? I mean, I'm just saying. And so I'm going to leave it right there, guys. I'm going to jump in the comments. I want to see what you guys are saying. I have kind of been ignoring you guys, not on purpose. So let me just see what I've been missing out on in the comments. Who's up in here tonight? Who is up in here tonight? I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday. Thank you so much, Rafa King of Clay, for the big, huge $5 super chat. So he says Donald Trump could get a loan from Elon Musk with a percentage of Truth Social as collateral. So he does have a lot of options. He sure does, and I'm pretty sure, to your point, with the valuations of Truth Social, if it's not Elon Musk, maybe there's some other billionaire or lending institution that would be willing to lend him some money. Because here's the thing. As long as he wins the appeal, he get all his money back. The problem is that, there's opportunity costs, right? And I think I shared this calculation with you guys the other day. If Donald Trump were to tie up $500 million for God knows how long this appeal might take, right? Let's just say it was like, tied up for a year, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 3 years. I don't know how long an appeal would take. But $500 million at 6% interest that he wouldn't be earning on it, I'm pretty sure, he'd be losing like $25 to $50 million a year. Just in opportunity costs. So then the next question would be, if he wins the appeal, can Donald Trump sue New York City for the false allegations, for the loss of capital as a result of having his funds, his income, or not really his income, but his assets tied up, basically losing value through inflation, losing value through lack of earning capacity while they're basically tying up his so anyway, let me jump in the comments. Like I said, this is great. So Kenna Curry says he can sue New York City for the losses. Okay. Do you guys know of any cases where people have actually sued New York City? That'd be really interesting. But I actually did hear that, and I heard this from Donald Trump, so I don't know if he's a little bit biased, because I know he doesn't have the best relationship with Judge Arthur Engoron, right? But Donald Trump actually said that Judge Arthur Engoron was a judge in New York City who happened to have one of the most overturned cases. So this is like another win in the works. If Donald Trump is up against a judge who has a horrible record of having a number of his cases overturned, then that actually means that Donald Trump likely has a very good ability or chance of getting his case overturned as well. But then it also begs the question, well, if he's had so many cases overturned, that would mean that, because the only way to overturn a case is that there was something about the case that was wrong, the incorrect judgment. A case came to an incorrect judgment, and then a superior court has evaluated it and thrown out the case of the lower court. So it's like, okay, if you have a history of getting cases thrown out, are you even doing your job? Like, should Judge Arthur Engoron even be still the judge? Like, I mean, we're looking at Letitia James attacking Donald Trump, and a lot of people want to disbar Letitia James. A lot of people want to disbar Fannie Willis, disqualify her or whatnot. But what about the judge? I mean, I'm just saying, if Donald Trump's statement was correct about, Judge Arthur Engoron having all these cases overturned, then why is he still judge? Because that would mean, like, your cases are, what are you doing? What are you doing? Your cases are wrong, and you're wasting people's time. You're wasting the resources of New York City. Anyway, so let's see here. Keith Howell says Engoron's a snake. Oh my God. Don C says Engoron is lower than whale shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Terry Moore says disqualify the judge. And they're, bloodbath this, bloodbath that, as if people don't understand that the term bloodbath is frequently referred to like a financial negative situation. But bloodbath can actually have a multitude of terms, a multitude of meanings. I guess these people who aren't familiar with the word bloodbath have never used a dictionary in their life, because if they did, they would realize that almost every single word has More than one meaning. I digress. Yeah. So Betty Barker says he's an imposter in a black robe. And why does he look so angry and like weird? Like, would you ever let your kid be babysat by Judge Arthur Engeron? Like, he don't look like, I don't know, he don't look like somebody I'd leave my kid with for 5 seconds. I'm glad we're not neighbors. Anyway, J Max says, if they will do this to one person, they will do it to all. She is after the beef industry right now. Actually, you're 100% right. Number one, if they're able to pull this off to Donald Trump, he's got notoriety. He was the former president of the United States. Kind of hard to top that position. So if these, as Kathleen Rudnick says, if these gargoyles are able to come after Donald Trump, can you imagine if they decided to come after like the average American, the average person who has little to no reach from a political standpoint? This is being done on a grand scale. They're not hiding what they're doing. So imagine if they just wanted to just screw a regular person who's not known, who doesn't have hundreds of millions of dollars at their disposal to obtain legal counsel, to get in front of the public and let the public know what's going on. This is a very dangerous precedence for New York City. This is a very dangerous precedence for America. And again, it's another sanctuary city, so go figure, right? Yeah. Yeah, man, this is some craziness. But anyway, guys, I just want to thank you guys so much for your support. As always, thank you for rocking with me. You guys are amazing. I want to thank y'all for subscribing to the channel. The channel's been growing like crazy. I want to thank you guys for liking the video and sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. Yeah. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and get some shut-eye tonight. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday into your Sunday. And I'm gonna see you guys in probably a few hours. Y'all be safe.